All right, in this video, we are going to give an example of how to get input from the user repeatedly over and over again until the user triggers that input loop to stop. Okay, so we are going to repeatedly get input from the user and display a message until the user enters a double value that is greater than 52.7. Okay, so just one word of warning here on these videos. Some people are just trying to cut and paste exactly into their projects. What I put on these videos, but I'm not going to show you exactly how to do that. You're going to have to kind of adapt it to the problem that you to the final project that you're working on. Okay, so this is going to be very similar to what you have to do, but don't think this is literally what you need to type into your program. Just it's going to be very similar. All right, and so here we're going to get input from the user, and we're going to display a message. And this is not very important. In this example, we're just doing something over and over again. So just going to display a message. And then here I'm using double values, right, instead of ints like you have to do in the final project. And there's some other condition, just an arbitrary condition that will trigger this input loop to stop. And that's when the user types in a double value that's greater than 52.7. All right, so first thing I'm going to need is the import for scanner. That's what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to create a scanner object. Okay, and then there's lots of different ways in which you could do this, but I'm just going to go with a while loop first off, because a while loop is here we really don't know how many times the user is going to enter input or want to enter input. So we really don't know ahead of time how many times this loop needs to go. So you should be using a while or a do while loop to do that. So I'm just going to use a while loop. And here with the condition, I'm just going to pick true. So that will get you stuck in an infinite loop if you're not careful. All right, so what we're going to do is when the user types in a double value that's greater than 52.7, then you're going to have to break out of the loop using a break statement. Okay. All right. So I have all that set up. So the next step here would be to prompt the user. So tell the user to type in some stuff. So enter a double value, and then get that input from the user. So the scanner object is named in, and that would be next double, like so. Okay. All right, and then we're going to check that, right, number that the user types in, and if it's greater than 52.7, again, that's completely arbitrary, right? Just something to use as an example. Then we're going to break out of the loop. Okay. All right, and otherwise, right, if the number is not greater than 52.7, we are going to print some message to the user. All right. And again, that is not very important here. All right, so that will accomplish the basics, I believe. Let's test it out and see. All right, enter a double value, so I'm going to enter 10. So it should just prompt me again, enter a double, or display the message and prompt me again. Display another double value, 44. Okay, you see it does the same thing, and then I'm going to type 101. And that should end it, right, because the value of number will be 101. 101 is greater than 52.7, and so therefore it will trigger this break statement. So it should end right there. Okay. So that is the very basic thing that you can do to run this loop when you are in your final project. Somebody did ask me about a situation, right? If you see, um, if you run this, right, and the user enters let's see, enters some letters, right, in there, that's going to cause this next double method to throw an exception, and then the program's going to crash. Okay, and so the question was, well, how do I stop it from doing that? And so one way to stop it from doing that is to add another if statement right here. Okay, so you want to do if, and then you want to use in. That's the scanner object, and the method that you want to use is for doubles is has next double, like this. All right, and you can see what that does. The has next double method returns true if the thing that the user typed in the input can be recognized as a double. Okay, it will return true, and then if it's letters or something else that it can't recognize as a double, it will return false. Okay, all right, so going to add that in there. And so before I use the next double method, before this next double method actually gets the user input out of the scanner object, right, and puts it in that variable number. So before I do that, right, I am going to check to see whether there is a next double in there. And if that's true, then I can go ahead about the process of fishing out the number using the next double method and storing it here, and then checking the user input. If it's greater than 52.7, then I'll break. Okay, and print. If not, right, then just keep going and then print the message. Okay, so that is close to what you want, but that is also going to show, and that's going to cause another problem. So let's test it out and make sure that I've got this right, and then I'll show you what the problem is. All right, so 11, that's good. 34. If I do 118, that ends, so that's looking okay. All right, so now when I type in some letters, right, we're going to see that we're not going to have that problem any longer about the program crashing, right? Because this condition right here will now, when I hit enter, it's going to check to see if what I entered is a double value, and that's going to be false, right? Because these letters are not numbers. And so that's going to skip all of this thing. So we're not going to get that same problem where this crashes, but you're going to see that there's going to be a different problem, right? And you can see, boom, that we are stuck in an infinite loop. All right, so what's going on, right? And to stop that, you know, just click over here. So what's going on is when you do has next double, any numbers or anything in there that is not a that I entered in there is still in there. Okay, so that those letters ASDF and then enter, I've never taken them out at all. Okay, so they're constantly just sitting in there in the pipe, so in the scanner object, right? And so every time through this loop, this is going to be false. And so I never take out that input. Here's for a legitimate double value. Here's where I would have removed that input, right? And so so what you want to do is down over here is actually go ahead and remove that input. So you would put else, and then down here you would just do in.next line. Next line will, nope, not has next line, just next line there, autocorrect. Change that for me. So what this next line will do is take any look for anything in the scanner object that can be interpreted as a string up and including the enter key press, and it will remove all of that from the scanner object. So basically, this cleans out the scanner object, and I don't have that bad input stuck in the scanner object like I had before. Okay. All right, let's run that and just verify. All right, so enter double value. I'm going to enter some letters. And you can see, right, I don't have that problem anymore about being stuck in an infinite loop. Okay. And so that is the way that are probably the easiest way without talking about some try and catch blocks, which we have not talked about. This would be the easiest way to where you could validate user input. Okay. All right. And that is it on this one.